That may have been one of the greatest basketball series I've ever seen. Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So the New York Knicks, in one of the best playoff series I have seen in a long time, advanced to the second round of the playoffs as they defeat Philadelphia 4-2. Now, I gotta say a couple of things here. I've been a Knicks fan since 1988. I grew up, I thought it was a birthright that the Knicks would not only be in the playoffs, but at least get to the second round every year. You know, that was the case for basically 12, 13 years. And then you basically saw this franchise be in the absolute abyss for the next 20 years. And I think when you look at these series, when you look back at playoff series, a lot of them tend to blend together. There aren't a lot of series where you can remember individual moments from a lot of games down the road. This is going to be one of those series, kind of like the old series in the 90s against Miami and against Indiana, where every game felt like its own story, like a novella unto itself. That's what this series was. This was, in my mind, the best series the Knicks have played since 1999 against Miami. And I don't mean this is the series where they played their best necessarily, but I'm talking about emotion, drama, storylines. This was the best Knicks series in 25 years. And it was only appropriate that Game 6, the final game of the series, would be its own roller coaster. The Knicks stormed out to a 33-11 lead, and I was amazed what I was watching, but deep down, you just knew the Knicks were not going to hold this lead the entire game. Philadelphia was going to make a rally at some point. I didn't know it was going to happen right away in the second quarter, as in the second quarter, Philadelphia goes on a 27-8 run. 27-8. It was like the Knicks couldn't buy a bucket. It was like watching 5 Alec Burks on the court or something. You know, but I've talked about before, I've been worried that the Knicks are going to be out of gas if they only use 7 players. Now that Bogdanovic is out for the year, and Thibs doesn't seem to trust anybody, not even Precious Achiuwa. He's got his 7 players, and that's what he's apparently going to roll with. So the Sixers take a 3-point lead into halftime. Third quarter remained a struggle. The Knicks actually trailed by as many as 10 points midway through the third, something that I think might get lost a little bit easily, but the Knicks really started to rally, and it began with a DonTedivincenzo three-pointer. What a game he had. And this is where I want to give Tomthibodeau credit. And I've been a Thibodeau supporter. I've been a little critical of him during the series, mostly because of his rotation. But I think he made the best move of the series for Game 6 when he decided to use DonTedivincenzo to guard tyresemaxey. Now, this worked in the regular season, but Thibodeau was using Anunoby, JoshHart, Miles McBride to guard Maxey. It didn't work. But with Dante guarding Maxey, he never got comfortable in this game. Maxey finished just 6 of 18 shooting, 17 points. This just 2 nights after he lit the Garden up by dropping 46 points and extending the 76ers season. So Dante did a fantastic job. His hustle, he closed off the space that Maxey had to work with, which was a big deal. But he also had his best shooting game of the series, scoring 23 points. You know, Dante was hitting three-pointers early, and when that was happening, I started to think, you know, even though I was not confident in the Knicks winning this game, when Dante was making those threes, I'm like, okay, if they're going to get some good support from Dante, which he hasn't really been able to give yet this series, my confidence level is going up quite a bit. And I've gone a couple of minutes here. I haven't even acknowledged number 11. You know, 2 days after Jalenbrunson was not able to come through in, the crunch time of Game 5, not that I'm putting all of that on his shoulders, he was tremendous on Thursday night. Finished with 41 points and 12 assists. In the final 6.5 minutes, he was carrying the Knicks across the finish line. So we fast forward to the fourth quarter. So Embiid ties the score 95-95 with a short jump hook. About 6.5 minutes to go. The Knicks called timeout. And this had been sort of a back and forth. The Knicks had taken the lead early in the fourth quarter. Now the Sixers have jumped back right into the game, and it's a brand new ball game. So the Knicks call timeout. They give the ball to Jalen immediately, and he drills 3-pointers on consecutive possessions, giving the Knicks a 6-point advantage. The first 2 games, Brunson, he was he was being hassled quite a bit. We talked about how Philadelphia had the defenders to throw at him to really make him uncomfortable, and we saw that as his teammates really guided the Knicks to victories in games 1 and 2. But then starting in game 3, Jalen started to get a little better, and he just got better as the series went along. So then the Knicks lead by 8. The Sixers got one last run of them. The Knicks are up 8 with 2:20 to go, and I was feeling pretty good at this point. But then Kelly Oubre drills a 3-pointer. That begins a 10-2 Sixers run. Maxey gets the N1 layup. He ties it with just 35 seconds to go, and that set up the biggest shot of Josh Hart's pro career. 25 seconds left, tie score. Brunson, being double-teamed, finds him alone. Now, all series long, the Sixers were willing to double-team Jalen and take their chances that Josh Hart would miss his outside shots. And I can't totally blame them for that strategy. Sometimes those shots fall, sometimes they brick. Josh Hart this year shot just 31% from three-point range during the regular season. That's compared to 52% that he shot in the regular season last year in the 25 games after he came over from Portland. But he got his space, briefly faked the pass, he set his feet, calmly shot, it swished through the net, and that gave the Knicks the lead. They would not give up. Hart finished the series averaging 16.8 points, 12.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and played over 46 minutes per game, including all 53 minutes in Game 5 and 46 more in Game 6. Josh Hart is always on the floor. His competitive nature, man, he's like a throwback to like 80s and 90s basketball. He is one of the fiercest competitors I've seen in the NBA. It's been a long time since I've sort of attached myself to a player like I have Josh Hart. Just because I love the way he plays the game, does all those little gritty things that make a team go. Now, we talked about free throws. We talked about the struggles this team has had from the stripe, but give Brunson and DiVincenzo credit. They made 4 consecutive free throws in the final 11 seconds, and that forced Philadelphia, to eventually go for a 3 with just 3.5 seconds left on the clock. And Buddy Hield, who I gotta say was excellent in this game for Philadelphia after not playing in games 4 or 5, throws up a 3. It never looked good. You could tell right away it was too strong, and it was all over. The Knicks fans erupt. From Wells Fargo Arena to Madison Square Garden to all across the country, it was an incredible series. And I'll say a thing or two about the Sixers as well, because I don't want to make this just about the Knicks. Tyresemaxey this season has emerged as an amazing talent. He's may not have the consistency quite yet that they would want, but he's probably only going to get better. Joel Embiid, yes, he's dirty. He made some dirty plays this series, but he battled through injuries and illness. I got to give him some credit for that. And but I will say, as a Knicks fan, we've seen this. You got to be careful with those guarantees. You make a guarantee, you better back it up. And Nick Nurse, look, I know this guy won a championship with Toronto as head coach. He may be the whiniest coach I've ever seen in my life. There is never a foul on his team where he's not running up and down the sidelines, screaming at the referees, or his glasses aren't about to pop off his nose. And here's the thing. Here's why I got a problem with that. When the players see the coach doing that, that attitude can rub off on the players where you're waiting for a break from the officials. You can't be doing it over and over. I know the playoffs are higher stakes. I know it's high pressured. But come on, this guy made Jim Boeheim look like Chuck Daly the way that he was complaining. And hey, to the Sixers fans, I hope you enjoyed your free Chick-fil-A for Jalen Brunson missing those consecutive free throws. But as for the Knicks, it's now off to Indiana in the second round. New York, a huge favorite to win this series. Game 1 Monday night at the Garden. I'll post another video getting into that series a little bit more, but remember for now, the Pacers are the highest scoring team in the NBA, but they struggle to rebound and play defense. Knicks heavy favorites. We shall see what happens. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.